Here.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
They're all pots, all of them. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep. I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid!
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Here's Gingy.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. Gentlemen, I am pain.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
You think that when you die, you go to heaven. You come to us.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
I think it's trouble.
Julie, this guy, if he can't take a joke, he stinks.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
Good evening, Flesh Wound Radio freaks. I am Daniel Shine, joined once again by the legendary Todd Loya. Todd, how goes the day?
Good. I'm legendary now. Nice to know.
Absolutely. You deserve that Hall of Fame induction over Tugboat. I'm going to say that. You deserve it more. So, over the Shockmaster, Todd, you're legendary. So,
well,
there you go.
Of course.
So, how has your week gone, Todd?
Same old. Nothing to complain about this week.
Nothing to complain. Well, that's that's good enough. That's good enough. It's been a pretty good week for me. Kind of not on the lady front, as you know, but I blame you for that this time. But that's how it goes. But yes, you are the bad guy, Todd. But anyways, we well, that's a long story. But anyways, we have had an interesting week. There's some news today we'll get into, and a very diverse group of movies tonight. It's one of those weeks where I'm not even totally sure what you'll think of some of them. So it always makes for an interesting show. And well, first I wanted to talk a little bit about some releases. We haven't done sort of a release talk segment in a while, and there's a fuck ton of stuff coming out. Todd, anything in particular you're looking forward to? I think for me, probably the Paul Naschy set is a huge one for me.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be nice to see most of these in high def for the first time, and for some people,
yes.
all of them.
Yes.
That's definitely a top one. I mean, stuff that's already been announced that I'm counting down the days for is the House box set, but we should have that by the end of the month.
I do have a question for you on that one, because I have a decision to make on that. Not to stop you, but I have the Two Stories U.S. version. Is there confirmation yet that the UK version is region free?
The only confirmation until the actual sets in hand is Arrow's responded because the Amazon listing in the UK lists AB for the regions. It has been confirmed House 1 and 2 will be AB region, well, technically not region free because they're not C unlocked, but they're A and B region discs. So, and the same as the US ones will be the A and B. But as of right now, they say that the other ones will be B locked. But sometimes they forget. Sometimes there's the top menu trick. Like I say, until there's discs in hand, no one's going to know for sure. The one thing, though, is the sets are pretty much priced the same.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, which one should you get? That's kind of up to you. I mean, they both have the same, I'm assuming the same exact book that covers the whole series. But it's just those two discs. No one, until the set's in hand, it's like they said yes, they will be locked, and that's just 3 and 4. But that's the only confirmation we have until because on their Shivers set, when it was originally released, it was locked. When they did the corrected discs, they accidentally forgot to lock those.
Accidentally.
Honestly, I think it is, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm waiting. I'm hoping the Arrow, because I am coming directly from Arrow UK, which from all I've heard is quicker than going through Amazon UK. But it was a little, But I'm just hoping they ship soon or people start getting them. I know they were pushed back a week.
Yeah.
Originally they were streeting next Tuesday, and now they're the 27th in the UK and 28th here.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And I should point out, most people probably know this, but maybe not everybody, but you do have House 3 on Blu-ray as the horror show from Scream Factory. So
this is true. Not uncut.
I guess it's. Oh, that is true. No, I forgot it wasn't uncut, was it? So, people trying to make a decision. I don't know. I've had. I'm glad that Ronin is announcing a rough release date for some of their Blu-rays, but at the same time, I find myself, I'm like, okay, what if it pops up? Do I need to cancel a couple things this week? That's my dilemma this week. Mm.
I know you kind of got put off on the Elvira set after all their issues, because you got other stuff coming.
Yeah, I did, but it's that. See, I know Chris got the Elvira set, and I love Elvira. Don't get me wrong, but I was looking at it. The price, number one, the website pissed me off. I know it's fixed now, but still, I know that's going to be coming out here in the U.S. And
well, technically, this is the U.S. release because they have the U.S. rights.
No, I didn't know that. You're tempting me again, Todd.
I'm not trying to, but that's what they stated all along. Yes, the license will expire, and someone else will pick it up most likely. All right, let me tell you. I'm looking right now. This is not going to help your decision. House Complete Collection. No. Oh, I know that. If you really want to cover one on the Elvira set, they're almost done. But I just looked it up. The House Complete Collection shipped from Amazon UK is $41.08.
Okay.
I'm looking at what is
tough.
What is the US set sitting at? I'm curious now.
I think it. What did I lock it in at? I don't know. I thought that went on sale.
$42.99.
I'll have to see what I had locked in at, though, although it wouldn't be.
I actually had a pre-ordered 2, just in case. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I need to cancel that. But I'll tell you what I locked mine in at. And I'll be canceling it as soon as $42.99.
Wow, decision. And you know what really sucks? That Tuesday, April 11th, I believe, is stacked because really good 90s horror film, Dark Waters, not to be confused with the Asian film, hits Blu-ray. The Other Hell hits Blu-ray. Kaltiki the Immortal Monster hits Blu-ray. Demented hits Blu-ray. You've got the House set. You have the Violent Shit collection.
Don't forget the biggest one.
Which one did I miss?
The Phantasm set.
Oh, yeah, but you know what, though? I haven't pre-ordered it because I just, on that one, I know I'm going to get that cheaper. That's well go. I mean, I know. I mean, that's a good shot that that's going to be in Best Buy. I know it'll be in Fry's. I mean, they seem to get everything from Well Go. I'm going to wait and see. That one I'm not getting the first week. Plus, I'm still chapped that I wasn't patient enough to wait for it and bought the first and last one. So, yeah, my advice if you're thinking about that, I don't know. It's not that the price is a ripoff. It's just from that company, I expect it to go down. It's not limited. You know, you should be able to get that, you know, a little later. But I don't know. I mean, are you buying it that weekend or that week? Because I know there's some other stuff out that week too. Those are just some.
Well, now you're talking me out of it.
I am. Yeah. Well, I'm waiting. See, self-control, Todd. At Scream Factory or somebody gets Elvira, you're going to be like, oh fuck.
Well, they have stated the extras are exclusive, so there's a nice lengthy documentary.
That's true.
Wouldn't be the first time
I might.
I've got a fucking Orgasmo media book that I bought before the U.S. disc came out.
You got to see Master Zero in 1080p, Todd.
Well, of course. I mean, but then it's all a crapshoot. Then look, I mean, the same day I grabbed the Trick or Treat, and there's still nothing stateside. So.
Yeah, I've been that's one now that I kind of have expected at any time. But you're right, it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I don't know. There's been so much coming out. I've been a little more careful about stuff that I sense is going to come out here stateside. But you never know. I've grabbed I did get Massacre in Dinosaur Valley, which I'm sure probably will come out eventually. But I love that movie, and I did bite it on that one. But
yeah. Well, then maybe did you actually received it?
Yeah, I have Massacre in Dinosaur Valley.
Well, maybe we'll have a review next week then.
Yeah. Well, I know we have Vinegar Syndrome next week, but we might split it. So that's still.
That is true. I was thinking of splitting it just because there's quite a bit of After Dark, and it's going to be a lopsided show. But I am still waiting for any movement on my package. I know there's some kind of storm out near it, and I saw a message that stuff may be delayed. So I don't even have an estimated delivery of the stuff directly from Vinegar Syndrome. So we may be, depending on, hopefully I know something. Yeah. At the very least, I mean, as long as I get it by Thursday, I'm sure we can do at least one from there. We'll figure that out. I'm just going with until I get some kind of shipping.
Well, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, there is a lot of stuff coming, and like I said, there's that Donnie Darko 4-disc set coming. Which is limited.
Which I didn't grab.
Like I said,
I didn't grab the UK set on that one. I'm kind of glad because I figured they weren't going to get it from Fox, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of thought, I'm like, that's such a huge cult hit, almost a mainstream cult hit now. I mean, I kind of thought, that's another one I waited on, and I'm happy I did.
I figured we'd see those remasters from someone. I didn't know we were going to get the exact same set a month later or a couple months, announced a month after. Because normally I know if Arrow could have cleared both regions, they would have announced them both at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's always a crapshoot, but I don't know. I mean, there's There's a lot of interesting movies. I mean, April and May, I haven't watched it in forever, but I did pre-order the Serial Mom Blu-ray. I have Multiple Maniacs also, and early John Waters flick on Blu-ray. I have that pre-ordered. I wasn't a big Waters fan, truthfully, when I was younger, but I kind of grew to appreciate him later. So it's kind of an interesting.
I'm the same way on that one. I was probably in my 20s when I grew to appreciate him.
Yeah. No, I remember the whole dog shit thing, and I was kind of like, I don't know about this. I want to say Pink Flamingos was probably the first one. It might have been Crybaby, I don't know, but I think it might have been Pink Flamingos, at least when I really became aware of him as a director, and I was just like, but then I did appreciate him later, so I'm kind of curious to see Multiple Maniacs, which I have never actually seen, so that should be very rare cult movie I haven't had the pleasure of seeing, but there is a lot. The 28th, March 28th, we have a couple sets coming out. We have the Wishmaster collection, which I'm excited for that. I'm a huge Takashi Miike fan. And this one just went on sale, by the way. I think it went to like $31, and that's the Dead or Alive trilogy. If you're a fan of Takashi's films, I highly recommend that one. Another Arrow set. One I had the pleasure of seeing in theaters because one of my local theaters tends to get all the big Korean releases, is Park Chan's film Handmaiden, which is hitting Blu-ray on March 28th, which is ironic because I think they had a DVD come out before then, and I was like, oh shit, it's not getting a Blu-ray, but it is up now on Blu-ray if you haven't pre-ordered it. So we have a lot. Mike Mendez's new movie, Don't Kill It, with Dolph Lundgren. I'm looking forward to that. Invasion of the Bee Girls. I've always been a big fan of that one. That's hitting Blu-ray. It's a pretty stacked release season, so I'm excited.
It is. Well, now that January and February are over, it seems like everyone's pumping them out. The one I was excited and also slightly disappointed that got announced for May 6th, I'm not sure if you saw, coming from Kino Lorber, is Making Contact from 1985. And specs were announced with optional English subtitles, original U.S. trailers, 2 of them, original German trailer. However, the release will only contain the U.S. theatrical version. And basically, and Joey, the alternate version, the original German version, it was finally responded from Kino that basically they waited 2 years for the Germans to clear Joey, and they didn't. So they've decided to move ahead and release this with only the U.S. cut. So I prefer the U.S. cut because that's the one I'm used to, but it's kind of disappointing. I honestly still have the Anchor Bay disc if I want to throw in the long cut, and I do think there is a German Blu-ray if I really wanted the Joey cut in HD. But I know it's still a little disappointing too. They weren't able to pull it off. And they've been pretty good at being able to, offer 2 cuts on a lot of stuff recently. So it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, an early Roland Emmerich film.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any twinks in that movie. I can't recall, but a little Bryan Singer
just
reference.
Joey.
People wondering. Yes. Singer was not on set, hopefully. But yeah, no, it's a good mix of films. I was surprised, and they've done this to me a couple times now at Synapse, but I had thought the Violent Chick collection was going to be for Blu-ray, and it is a DVD set now.
Yeah, no, they've said for quite a while it was going to be a DVD only, just because of what
all right, maybe.
are.
All right, maybe I missed that because I thought a while back that was announced for Blu-ray, but maybe it's my mind playing tricks on me. But yeah, I'm probably still going to grab it.
Yeah, I know what you mean on that one. There was one. Oh, should I bring up casting news, or do we just not want to touch that one?
Oh, we might as well. We might as well. What the hell was that, Todd?
I don't know. I heard something kind of cut. Damn you, Blog Talk.
Oh, well, I thought maybe we cut out or something.
Wait.
Huh?
Are we getting wiretapped?
Grab him by the pussy.
Uh-oh.
Hey, all of our perverted shit is right out there for anybody to listen to. You don't have to wiretap us. Most of it, anyways. Todd. Hopefully not your basement, Todd, or your crawl space.
Yeah, well, I have no microwaves in there, so we're good.
Well, yeah. While you were starting on it, so yeah, we might as well hit that one, which I'm actually perfectly. I assume we're talking about the same thing. Also, I'll let you go ahead.
That would be Meg Foster?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, the news broke this week that Meg Foster will be taking the role that Adrienne Barbeau earlier, was it last week, gave up in the upcoming Jeepers Creepers 3.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. She's not afraid to take the heat.
Yeah, that's apparently not. I mean, well, I love, I love that she's, doing, working and stuff. It's just, it's not the greatest, She's going to get a lot of heat. And at least she's going to be at Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I hope. She's such a sweet lady. I mean, so is Adrienne. I've met both, and I've met Meg Foster several times. But she's such a sweet lady. I hope people, you want to go after the director, hey, like we said, go for it. But hopefully nobody's cold towards her. The movie's happening now. I mean, they're filming. It's happening. Although I don't know at this point who the hell knows. Maybe they'll still find a way to stop it. But they're filming in my backyard, basically. So I think it's happening now. And
stay away from set, Dan.
Hey, I'm old. It doesn't matter now.
Did you know, and I did not know this till just recently, that on the television show Cagney and Lacey, she was Detective Cagney for the first 6 episodes?
Yeah, I knew that. I never watched that, but yeah, no, I was aware of it.
I wasn't. I can't remember how it popped up, probably some listicle on some fucking website, and I was like, wow, I never knew that. I mean, I remember watching, like my grandma watching that show and stuff, and I remember, the blonde and the red-haired lady. I was like, wow, interesting.
Wasn't it, they just didn't think she was hot enough or something? I mean, it was a very crazy, kind of crazy reason.
From the article I read, they thought the two of them together made it a little too dykey. And I'm using that word as
too dykey.
Which is funny because everyone, even after the switch shot, thought they were romantically involved too. So, did it really matter?
Nah. Who gives a shit? I'm really curious to see Meg Foster do battle with the Creeper. Just to stare down with those eyes, I think would be awesome. And it's good. So Meg Foster wasn't working for several years. I mean, she had a good decade where she wasn't really making anything, and it's cool. It's cool to see her back. I said 31. She should have been the last one standing in that one, but that's a separate rant. We have a couple other news bits to hit here, including, for people not keeping up with it, Puppet Master. Of course, they're just wrapping, or I think they may have wrapped it already, the new Full Moon Puppet Master Axis Termination. But there is a reboot in the works right now called Puppet Master: The Littlest Reich. which is written by the Bone Tomahawk director-writer S. Craig Zahler. And the storyline for the reboot follows a recently divorced young man who discovers a mint-condition Blade doll in his deceased brother's closet and plans to sell the toy at a convention in Oregon celebrating the 30th anniversary of the infamous Toulon murders. All hell breaks loose at the Postville Lodge during the auction when a strange force animates all the various puppets through the convention as they go on a bloody killing spree. Band is going to be executive producer, and this is meant to be the beginning of a whole new Puppet Master franchise while still featuring the puppets and comedic tendencies of the Full Moon Films, which is and I should also point out, great directing team, Sonny Laguna and Tommy Wickland, who did Wither. So kind of a big difference between that and Puppet Master, but it does have a very talented writer and directing duo on that one. The storyline for the reboot sounds like it could very easily be another Full Moon sequel.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's not. Yeah, it's not the type of. I'm kind of, to be honest, excited for a reboot of Puppet Master because I think, the recent sequels have been okay at best, and I'd kind of like to see somebody outside tackle it. That might be heresy, but I am curious.
I kind of found it funny. A few of the articles mentioned this being the first time a Puppet Master's been done outside of the Full Moon, universe. I'm like,
yeah,
did everyone? I know. Did everyone just black out the? Yeah. Well, I guess Corey Feldman's performance alone caused most people to black it out, but Demonic Toys versus Puppet Master.
Just like Corey Haim. It was going to be a horrible joke. But
I don't know. Does this mean the end of the Full Moon franchise? I don't think that'd be a bad thing. I don't know, because we also have the Toxic Avenger coming too. It's weird seeing these two franchises.
It is. Toxic Avenger I'm not too sure about. That seems like that's Troma, period, but who knows? Like I said, this does have a very talented team behind it, but the storyline does not feel like a reboot to me. Obviously the characters exist already in this universe, and it just seems like a strange storyline for a reboot. I'd rather see them kind of just go back to the origins and do something a little different, but who knows? Like I said, I'm more, again, it's rare to say this, I'm more excited for the reboot than I probably am for the new movie. But
yeah, I agree. I've never been a fan of the Nazi origin stuff. I know so many people love Puppet Master 3. Growing up, that was my least favorite. I was definitely 2 was my favorite. Then 1 and 4 and 5 I always had fun with. And beyond that, we'll just kind of let the rest speak for itself.
Yeah, I would change if it's
the Nazi stuff. I'm like, I like the, just little killing dolls.
Yeah, and I think the Littlest Reich, I would drop that. That's just kind of goofy, but who knows? We'll see. At the very least, I'm hoping we get proper puppets and proper puppet kills, and we'll see. Wither was a great movie, so I'm hopeful.
I just have Now, when you say that, do you mean non-CG puppets?
Yes. No, I hope. I just hope that. Yeah, there's a lot of things. We could do a whole show on Puppet Master. Maybe we will when these come out, but I don't know. I don't hate them, but the recent ones, but they're at a point now where I don't really think they have the means to properly pull it off anymore, and I'm okay seeing somebody else, but
They barely have the means to pull off a fucking evil Bong movie at this point. Let's be real, and I love Full Moon.
Yeah, no, Full Moon for me right now, I'd like to see them really go back to some of the, and we did a Full Moon show, which was very thorough. We didn't tackle Puppet Master and some of the main franchises, but if you look in the Blog Talk archives or iTunes, Stitcher, Spreaker, whatever, we did a good show. I'd like to see them go back to some of those really weird-ass movies they did in the late 90s and into the early 2000s.
Well, you know what? Maybe they're testing the waters now that they're finally starting to release some of those. Yeah,
I mean
on Blu-ray.
The Creeps 2, they could pull that off.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be terrible.
Speaking of sequels long after the fact and stuff, have you seen the Return to Nukem High, a.k.a. Volume 2 trailer?
I have not, actually, no.
No. Well, they are coming soon. It's getting closer to it. It's actually, if you couldn't tell, there's been a title rename. And that's coming. Also, I totally forgot. I should have mentioned this last week. But, Reaction, the figure company that does the Star Wars style figures, the Kenner style figures, they did release a Toxic Avenger figure finally last week in two styles, colored in the movie version and the others colored in the animated. Same mold, but just one colored, Crusaders, the other Avenger.
I don't have many of those because they're hard to display and have them stand up properly, but might have to grab the Toxic Avenger one.
I exactly myself. On most of them I see them, I'm like, oh yeah, but that's when I'm like, I think I need to get that one.
Yeah, I'll probably be looking.
Yeah.
But couple other news bits, and we'll get into our reviews. Behind the Mask: The Rise of Leslie Vernon. The prequel has now been announced as an 8-part comic series. So maybe we're not getting the movie, but you are getting a comic book. So, hey. And it's, I guess it's in, actually, I don't know if it's Indiegogo, but it's crowdfunded. And I think they'll hit the goals, so I think this one will happen. I know they never hit it for the movie, but nonetheless, I'd still like to see the movie for that one eventually. I'm hopeful it'll happen, but at least you got a comic, and the artwork looks pretty good. The only other, not a whole lot. I'm not going to tackle all this news. I'm going to kind of condense this one, but I have to ask you, Todd, are you excited for Dark Tower and It? Because Stephen King's apparently raving about them.
Still not excited. Still will check them out. I don't know. At this point, I don't know what's going to get me excited for a Stephen King project. No offense to it, because I like quite a bit he's done. I am a fan. It's just I don't know. Modern
Michael Vick
versions
and the Pet Sematary reboot.
Yeah.
Tormented by pit bulls from beyond the grave. I'd pay to see him die in that. I'm pretty excited for Dark Tower.
Yeah, that one out of the two. I mean, shit. If I had to, I don't think I've ever asked you, what is your favorite Stephen King film?
God, it's hard for me to pick. God, at one point I would have said Pet Sematary. I do love Pet Sematary, but it's hard to pick. I've always said out of all of the King adaptations, there's not a whole lot that I hate. Even a couple of the ones that have gotten less than stellar reviews over the years, Sleepwalkers or even Langoliers. I always find myself at least enjoying all the King adaptations.
Yeah.
It wasn't with you. I did do a very thorough Stephen King show with Melissa back in the Creepshow radio days. Hit almost everything. That was a long show, but yeah, it's tough. I'm excited for Dark Tower. I'm hopeful. I don't think it's going to suck, but we'll see. I don't know. That one could surprise us, but I don't know. We'll see. And I was going to talk about the Fly remake, which, God, I don't know what they can do to improve on Cronenberg's Fly. I don't know what they can do to improve on it, but I am hopeful. I like the story, and we will see. But yeah, that's about it for news. So I guess we'll get into our reviews for the evening. I do have a solo on this one, Todd. I know you had an issue getting it. Probably some of this weather stuff seemed to screw you worse than I did, although strangely enough, the last couple days here in Atlanta have been fucking cold. It's kind of getting back to normal. It's going to be back in the 70s here soon, by the weekend, I think. But we had some pretty... I'm not bitching. We didn't get snow or anything, so.
Right.
But yeah, I know a lot of shipments are screwed up. But this is. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I did get there playing with fire on time, though.
There you go. Nothing can stop the titties of Sybil Danning. They will part the snow like Moses parted the seas, and yeah, I got that one too. We'll definitely have a review for that because that's an interesting film. One of the first Sybil Danning movies I saw.
We're not reviewing that tonight? I thought maybe that's why I got 6 in my head. Okay, well, let's plan that one for next week.
It would be 7 then. I mean, Sybil Danning's titties.
That's true. Well, I had myself a double feature with Private Resort and not Private Resort, Private Lessons, and They're Playing with Fire, which just makes me hate that little kid even more.
If we can fit it in, I saw you've been watching a lot of the dinosaur flicks, when dinosaurs ruled the earth, and oh God, I'm blanking the Raquel Welch one at some point. I got Valley of the Gwangi. I did get that the other day on the Warner Archive Blu-ray.
I still need that one.
Yeah, I have to get I'm just, like I said, Ronan's got me in a holding pattern right now. I'm waiting. They have After the Fall of New York, Beyond the Door, Deadly Dreams, Revenge of the Dead. They have a bunch coming that I want to get in the next package. But anyways, on to this film, Eyes of My Mother, which is a debut, I believe, from writer-director Nicholas Pesce. And this one follows, in their secluded farmhouse, a mother, formerly a surgeon, teaches her daughter, Francisca, to understand anatomy and be unfazed by death. After a shocking event shatters their idyllic life, the young girl must cope with the nightmarish repercussions that echo into adulthood. As she matures, it becomes clear that this beautiful but dangerous young woman has some very peculiar desires. So I was excited about this one. It got some very good reviews, and Todd, I got to say, you will want to pick it up. I enjoyed this one a lot. It's shot in black and white, which I think was a really good decision with this one. It's very much sort of a character study on just loneliness and isolation for this girl. It starts with her as a young child. There's a home invasion that results in her mother dying. And it sort of, it almost kind of has vignette kind of style chapters where different people kind of come into her life. It's not an overly gory film, but it is quite twisted in a lot of ways. This is one of the great female performances lately from really reminded me of Pollyanna McIntosh in The Woman, Angela Bettis in May, from Kika Magalis. Hopefully I'm saying her name right. I think you'll be seeing a lot from her. And the young version as well, Olivia Bond. But it really just kind of, it's a quiet film. It's very, I mean, if you're looking for gore, you're not going to get it. But if you want a very quiet, moody, and at the same time quite disturbing flick, I won't spoil this, but there's a couple shots in here that are just haunting. Not to give away what it is, but there's a scene where somebody tries to scream but can't, and I was, oh wow, that is just horror at its best. And yeah, I mean, it does have the art house vibe. Some people, find that boring. I certainly don't when it's done right. And it's creepy from the beginning. It's a very powerful and just really fascinating to me. I really. I'm trying to think as to I would compare it to a girl. What was the name of that film? The Iranian one. A Girl Walks a Home Alone at Night is a good one to compare it to. It's. I think we reviewed that one, Todd, if I remember right.
We did.
It's. Yeah, if you like films like that, and as I said, just. Disturbing character studies, May and films of that nature, I think you will really love this one. I figured I'd probably like it, but I really loved it. It beautifully shot. I mean, there are several scenes in here that I thought were so creepy, so fucked up. I mean, but in a classy way. I mean, it's not like I said, it's not a gore fest exactly. It really, it really just sad, disturbing. She delivers a very great performance. I mean, she never, and it's interesting because her character, she's so isolated in the middle of nowhere that there's really no malice from her. She doesn't really know what she's doing, killing people and, essentially trying to make friends in a very unconventional way. I mean, she doesn't really realize that it's wrong. And I certainly don't want to say realism. I hope not anyways, but it's really just a film that shows, what isolation can do to somebody. So hopefully there's not too much truth to this, but it's definitely disturbing. If you want a serious, well done, and like I said, the black and white, don't let that scare you away. I mean, I think it's a great choice for this movie. Some people think this is a foreign movie, by the way. I don't know why. It is a U.S. film. The mother, it's a Portuguese family, but it's not I saw a few people were saying it was a foreign film. Not that should matter, but it is an American film, and it's not dubbed. There's just a few parts that are in another language, but I love this one. I love moody horror, and we have a couple interesting reviews, like I said, this week. I'm going to say, Todd, I think you'll like this one though quite a bit. I know you weren't able to watch it, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think you will enjoy this. And although you do have a lesbian scene that's teased and doesn't happen, but it was so good I was even okay with that.
I was going to say, I think that's going to bother you more than me. You're the lesbian guy, I'm the rape guy. Two totally different things.
There you go. Well, there's some violation with surgical knives, so, there you go. That's about as close as you're going to get in this one. But yes, I loved it. This one's getting a 4.5 for me. I mean, it's almost perfect. It's definitely right up my alley, and I highly recommend it. And I hope we see more of her in the genre. And I keep an eye out for that name. Like I said, Annalyn McCord's another one. Pollyanna McIntosh, who of course now is getting her due on Walking Dead. This is definitely one of the next great actresses, and I hope she stays in the genre. So 4.5 for The Eyes of My Mother. Let's see, Todd, should we take our break, or do you want to do one more review?
I'm good with one more if you are.
Okay. Well, yeah, we got time. Yeah, we'll do one more. Yeah, and this is out, I should say, from Magnet, and you can get the Blu-ray, I think, pretty cheap at Best Buy. Yeah, check that one out. I think you can get the DVD. I don't think the Blu-ray's at Walmart. I think the DVD is, but it is one you can get. Let's see what to hit next. Let's do another new one. Oh, go ahead.
I was thinking The Lesson.
Oh, there you go. Read my mind. That's what I just picked up.
Good.
Another curious to see. Like I said, tonight it was, when I watched the movies on several of them, I was like, particularly one that's still coming, I was like, I wonder what Todd's going to think. Yes, The Lesson, which comes from Scream Factory on Blu-ray, and this one's unique because it's not an IFC title. It's not an IFC title. So I was kind of curious on this one because lately most of their new stuff has been part of the IFC deal. But this one follows Finn, played by Evan Bendel, from a broken family, gets caught up in the wrong crowd of delinquent kids in this chilling horror film with white-knuckle suspense. When Finn and his friend Joel act up in class, their English teacher decides to teach them a lesson they will never forget. First-time feature Helmer, Ruth Platt, comes out swinging as an intelligent directorial force with this debut that ramps up the tension and dramatically and results in a solid coming-of-age film. So, Todd, I'm curious, what did you think of The Lesson?
I was a little bit underwhelmed with it, if I'm being honest. I went in, I was kind of like, well, same thing. I was surprised it wasn't, it wasn't an IFC one. It's the first one they picked up on their own in quite a while. So I was kind of hopeful. And I don't know if I just had high expectations. I thought the premise was interesting. I thought the torture-y stuff in the latter half wasn't torture-y enough for what it should have been, I think. It was definitely more thriller than horror, in my opinion, which not necessarily is a bad thing. But I don't know. I think that's probably my biggest thing. For the big Scream Factory, this is one they're doing on their own. I expected a little bit more.
Yeah, although, like I said, some of the ones they on their own, you had like Dark Hall and Although one of the shittiest ones they ever put out was from IFC, that hashtag horror. In fact, I would go as far to say that is the shittiest one. But IFC generally, even before the Scream Factory deal, it's always been pretty reliable, I mean, in terms of quality. I'm pretty much with you on this one, though. I have to say, this had some good reviews. A lot of people were pointing it out as a sort of a sleeper hit. It's very well acted. The cast is great.
I agree.
The villainous performance from Robert Hands as the teacher, I thought was really good. I mean, it's essentially, it's these dick kind of thuggish kids who just don't care, have no respect for this teacher, and essentially he kidnaps them and tries to, it's not just torture, I mean, he essentially does a lecture, and if they don't get the answers right, they get drilled. It is very horror light. There's some clever literature tie-ins that were kind of interesting, but I think this one was almost a little bit too highbrow for what it was. I mean, it really kind of blended the coming-of-age drama with horror, and it didn't do it as well as some other films did. It's very horror light. I mean, the torture, I mean, he puts nails in their hands, which, fine, but that's like kind of all it is. If you're looking for a gore fest, now, I mean, I don't necessarily need a gore fest. I would be fine, with some suspense, but there's not even a whole lot of that, truthfully. I mean, it's a really good performance from the teacher, but I was never on the edge of my seat with this one, and even though it's well acted, I can't say I particularly cared about these kids. There's a lot of pretty generic flashbacks that I think you're supposed to feel sorry for them, but I don't know. I just wasn't emotionally involved in this one like I think they were attempting. They also fuck it up with an extent. It's kind of, the movie ends, and I was cool with the way it ended. I thought they should have ended on, and I know you know what I'm talking about, but they should have ended on that finale. And then it just kind of goes on for a while. Why? I don't know. Anybody that's seen this or watches this anyways, in spite of our review, I think will know exactly what I'm talking about. The movie should have ended 5 minutes earlier. It just was kind of a dumb. I mean, I kind of get what they were doing, but it was just totally, I don't know, it was totally unnecessary. I mean, if you're looking for the teacher from Hell flick, I don't know. This one just didn't work for me at all. Nothing against the actors or anything. It just I don't know. I didn't feel as connected to them as I should have, and they take plenty of time for you to get to know them. So it's not a particularly good thing. It held my interest enough. I mean, towards the end, I was involved enough to see what happened, but I don't know. Then it had that pointless ending that sort of ruined it for me a little bit. But yeah. I mean, it's not going to work on the gore front. Like I said, I mean, I've pretty much given it away. You see some guys get couple nails in their hand, and I mean that's about it. And you get a good performance from the teacher, but after a while, I was just like, all right, I've seen you put a nail through their hand. You might have to get a little more creative. But,
pretty much.
But yeah. But I mean, it's not horrible. It's not hashtag horror. It's not Dark Hall.
No.
But I think this one's been overhyped by some of the reviews. And I realize maybe it was meant to be a little bit more of a drama. I've always been a big fan of dark, dramatic films with maybe horror elements, Red, White, and Blue, and anybody that's listened to my reviews knows that can work for me. But it just didn't here. It didn't. God, I can't. I got to give this one a 1, and that's strictly the acting, because it just didn't work for me at all. And it might have even gotten a 2 if it weren't for just this pointless ending. That kind of lowered it a little more for me.
Yeah,
Todd, what say you?
I get that. I still have it down as a 2. I think someone's gonna like it, just not us. But I get the 1.
Yeah. Well, and there's other teacher from hell flicks out there that are better. A little more comedic, but you have, of course, Teaching Mrs. Tingle, and some somewhat obscure TV movie called Killing Mr. Griffin from the Scream era. Yeah, I haven't watched it in a while, but I remembered it being decent. So I don't know. This one, I see no reason you got to even rent it. It just didn't. I don't know. It didn't really do anything. There's a love story too, but even that, I was kind of like, I'm just not that connected. The actors are fine, but I'm just not that invested in it. So I can't see anybody. I'm not sure some of these glowing reviews again. I can't see anybody loving this movie. At best, maybe it could be average for some of you, but there you go. 1 and 2 for the lesson. So, Todd, do we have a song tonight?
We do, and it's from an upcoming review later on. And I might be a few minutes longer than our song, Dan. So if so, would you like to jump into your Wild Eye while I'm helping something real quick?
Absolutely, man. I mean, just
okay.
You'll have to pop in some Lena Romay so you can finish in quick fashion.
All right. Yes. Well, if you guys don't figure out what song we have from what movie, you'll figure it out pretty quickly. All right. Well, hopefully we'll both be back in about 3 minutes. All right.
Sweet.
The little pigs were blown out of their digs, and their houses and huts were despoiled. The wolf huffed and puffed till the pigs cried enough. How can this wicked monster be foiled? 2 piggies were eaten before he was beaten. Down the chimney the wolf was hard boiled. It's no wonder why I turned out
Once upon a time, a long, long time ago.
We are
and
back.
We're back? Oh, there you go. See,
Okay,
I told you,
feel
barbed
like...
wire's dolls. You won't make it past 3 minutes.
All right, well, I figure on that note, we should probably go ahead and review it.
Oh, so you want to jump right into Dead Time Tales then? That'll work.
Or we can go, or we can go the other way while I catch my breath. Your call.
Well, you can catch your breath during the synopsis, so that'll work. We'll do Dead Time. It's not Dead Time Tales. Dead Time Stories. I don't know why I'm saying Dead Time Tales.
And yes, you will. I just saw your message.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, oh shit. I don't know if he thought of that. So yes.
I hope you weren't singing along. Otherwise, everyone heard.
Oh shit. Well, there you go. I can't sing worth a shit. I tried once. I actually auditioned for Meatloaf. I think I told this story last week.
You did.
The Meatloaf role in Rocky Horror. Yeah. Oh, I did. There you go. So, but I can't fucking sing. So, leather jacket and all. I didn't get it. I probably could pull off a young Meatloaf, though. I don't think that's bragging about anything, but I think I had the look down. just not the pipes. What can I say? But anyways, maybe Meatloaf in that Masters of Horror episode. That's pretty close. I still remember him wearing the skin.
Oh yes, I was going to say I did share the Toxic Avenger figure I was speaking of earlier in our group.
Oh, sweet! Yeah, you can check that out. Yeah, I'm totally off topic, but a couple things I forgot to mention. I'll probably do a review of Belko Experiment next week because I think I'm seeing that Saturday night. Actually, there's a movie tonight that's somewhat similar that we're reviewing anyways. So I'm excited for that one. It's a stacked couple of weeks for theatrical films. I know Life is coming out the same weekend as Ghost in the Shell, Chips, which might be totally stupid, but I'm going to see it anyways. There's like 4 things out that weekend. I'm even curious to see the Beauty and the Beast thing that everybody's bitching about. So who knows? I might even see that. It's going to be a stacked couple of weeks of movies, but yes.
And we just know you're still on your bestiality kick. Let's be real.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I want to see the Harry Potter chick, take that beast cock, Todd. I mean, it's not going to happen, but, There was another Beast film that did show that. So yeah, if she was in a remake of that could get very interesting. But yes. I'm picturing Hermione getting some beast cock, and I lost my train of thought. Dead Time Stories, 80s horror. 80s anthology horror. So this is a 1980s.
Beast cock.
No beast cock. Nope. This is beast cock free. Maybe next week we'll see what we can do for you guys. But yes, this is a 1986 horror anthology from director Jeffrey Dellman. Your favorite nightmares come to life in a salute to the age-old bedtime story ritual. Travel on a mysterious journey to a medieval world populated by blood-crazed witches, evil experiments, and captive maidens. Then, from the catacombs and dark caverns of medieval Europe, you'll plunge into modern suburbia and the adventures of a female jogger stalked by a savage werewolf. Finally, sensuality will become macabre black comedy as you follow the trail of 3 bank robbers who share their country house hideaway with a sweet murderess. All right, so this is another one I was actually curious to talk about because I hadn't watched it in a while. I liked it as a kid. but never loved it. I mean, it was never like one of my favorite movies. And I don't know, you know, Todd, watching it again, I still don't like it very much. I don't know. I don't have a soft spot for this one, but what did you think?
And I'm going to explain mine right from the beginning. All right. So,
go for it.
This is the, I can't say very first, but my first theatrical horror film with my father was a double feature of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 and Dead Time Stories.
Ah.
So, and I have very
little homoeroticism and fairy tales.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
They had to do something to calm everyone down. Throw out some Dead Time Stories. And still, to this day, I remember it as clear as day.
I'm going to cut you off while it's in my head real quick. I just have to ask before you get into Dead Time Stories. Do you recall your father's reaction when you had like a leather gay S&M club and he's got his kid there in the movie?
I don't, but now I'm going to ask him. But I remember, like, what's going on when he was getting his ass whipped by the towels. I remember that. The shower scene was a little like, because I would have been.
Dad knew what was going on.
Yeah, right. Because it would have been. All right. I would have been probably 9 at the time. I'm guessing.
There you go.
And but okay, I remember what it was. This is before I knew what a movie Misframed was, what matting was, or any of this. But a very clear memory of during the Scott Valentine scene when they grab the girl.
On Dead Time Stories now, we should specify.
Yes, I should say that. On Dead Time Stories now. Very clear memories of the boom mic being right above their heads. It was just, like, they didn't even bother matting it. They just threw up the whole 4:3 frame and were like, yeah, whatever. It was like literally a theater that had 2 screens, so I'm not surprised. But and I just remember that the whole movie, the first time I noticed it was in that scene with Scott Valentine, and then throughout the whole movie I kept seeing the mics. Which I knew wasn't normal, even as my 9-year-old self. And, yes, it's not a great film, but I definitely have a soft spot for it, being my first theatrical outing, and that's what I got. Homoeroticism and fucked up bedtime stories.
Did you have a favorite story on this one?
Oh, jeez. I like... Jeez, I don't know. I kind of like... Man, he threw me off. Because I want to say the Killer Witch one. Even as stupid as it is, the Goldilocks one, it's hysterical to me.
I liked the basic the Goldilocks one was the best story. I didn't care for the Looney Tunes vibe to it. It just didn't make me laugh. I don't know. This one's interesting because anthologies, even modern anthologies, truthfully, I mean, you know, I was in one, but they tend to work pretty good. But this is one I didn't care for the wraparound. I didn't. I mean, the witch story might have been my favorite, but there's not much of a story there. It's the only good thing I can say about this. There are a couple cool effects moments. The resurrection, regeneration, whatever you want to call it, of the one witch I thought was pretty cool, and you have a couple decent gore moments, but that's about it. I mean, the Little Red Riding Hood thing, it was kind of I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to that. The Goldilocks one, like I said, I like the idea of a murderous family version of the Bears, which I thought was kind of cool. The story idea was good. I just didn't see that it had to be a Looney Tunes style.
Right.
Hey, I like goofy comedy, but this one, I really didn't laugh at anything in this. I mean, it's actually one that has not held up. I did not particularly like it as a kid. I didn't hate it, but I didn't particularly like it as a kid. And I like it even less now. I kind of figured, maybe this one will have grown on me a little bit. But for the most part, it's just not very good. I mean, you get some early, of course, Scott Valentine, but Melissa Leo played Mama Bear and has gone on to become a pretty popular character actress. It's I don't know. I mean, the Goldilocks had a couple amusing moments, but I don't know. This is one of those anthologies. I just don't like it. I was curious. I thought, maybe this is one I'm going to watch again and see something I didn't see before, and I don't. I just, Creep Show, it is not. In fact, a lot of modern, a lot of Scarlet Fry stuff, who's kind of one of the more known people doing low-budget anthologies now. I like his stuff more. I mean, this one ranks pretty low towards the bottom on the anthology horror scale for me.
And I can't even argue with any of that. Like I said, it has a special part. My rating will probably not reflect it too much. But I'm glad it's out. I'm glad Scream Factory didn't do the norm. It was something a little bit different. And I'll admit, I had a few beers while watching it. And I had fun with it.
Probably helps. I'm
Yeah.
still on this fucking Nutrisystem, so I can't have it. I was stone cold sober.
It's No My Demon Lover, which I still think is his masterpiece.
There you go.
Although he was also if you trace him back, his first credit is in Waitress from Troma.
Yeah.
But I do wonder what the hell happened to Scott Valentine.
Yeah, he was kind of the Corman one. Well, I don't want to say go-to guy, but he was the Corman guy for a while. He was in a lot of Corman stuff.
I know he's in one of the Carnosaurs.
Yeah, he was, and did a couple erotic thrillers for. I'm kind of putting on a blank right now, but he did some of that, and pretty good actor. I mean, you can also kind of tell that this anthology was shot over, I think, 4 or 5 years, too.
Yeah.
But that's all I could. I mean, I had a discussion about this one the other day, and I'm like, wow, in a group, and they were like, you usually always like anthology horror films. I mean, or at least, there's like one really good story at the very least, but I can't say anything about this. A couple cool effects moments, and that's it. It just does not work for me. I was surprised. I figured I'd at least give it an average rating, but I don't know. There's almost nothing to this one for me. But it was cool seeing Scott Valentine. I totally forgot Scott Valentine was even in this, so hadn't thought about him in a while.
I remember because that's when I first noticed the boom mic, and I was a Family Ties fan at the time. So
yeah, I never watched Family Ties. I just knew him from his Corman stuff.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
And it was Carnosaur 3.
Okay, no love for My Demon Lover?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Just, hell, a lot more than this.
Yeah, I saw that one theatrically also, so. I'm old.
Yeah, you're old enough to have experienced some Corman in theaters. I can't say that I really have. Well, maybe. Did I see Frankenstein Unbound? I would have been young.
Yeah, I did see that.
Maybe that, but that's
that might
it. Yeah.
I want to say that might even be
my Corman.
I think that might even be my only that he actually directed.
Yeah, even for you, I was going to say, because I'm kind of looking back and trying to think. I'm not going to count stuff at retro screenings, but, original releases.
Yeah, first run.
You also had him in To Sleep with the Vampire.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in a couple decent. Charlie Spradling, Full Moon fame. Get to see a lot of her in that one.
Yes.
But back when we still
No,
kind of liked vampire movies.
I'm trying to. I am double dutying, looking up Roger Corman's directing. Yeah, because he for his actual
Unbound
directing.
was his last.
Yeah, but I mean before that, the next one that he's even uncredited for was Battle Beyond the Stars, and I was 4 when that came out. So Frankenstein Unbound is the only thing he directed I saw theatrically. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. It's sad, but I got to see some retro screenings of some Price stuff, but that's about it. But Dead Times. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say after that, pretty much everything else was going straight to video.
Yeah, that was the
production stuff.
Yeah, that was the end of the era after the it seems like I don't know if we'll ever get it on Blu-ray. I know it's unlikely, but I wouldn't mind seeing Carnosaur on Blu-ray. I know that's one that has been asked by Code Red, but I know a lot of that Corman stuff is problematic, but particularly as you get into the 90s. But
a lot of stuff's finished on video. The
video edits, I know it's tough, but who knows?
They have the film.
Carnosaur was 93, so
I'm almost.
Say?
I can. Let's be real. It's Corman. It was cheaper to finish on video.
Yeah, pretty much. So
it's finished on video.
Yeah, but hey, we got DVDs of that at least. Dead Time Stories, this may sound low to some of you, but I give it a 1. It's just the stories are not very good. It gets a 1 for a couple cool effects, and the idea of the Goldilocks story I thought was clever, but that's it. That's the movie, though. That's a 1 for me. I still don't like this one very much.
Again, like I said, I know I'm nostalgia-based, so I'm warning everyone. But even still, I'm only giving it a 2.5. I think I enjoy it because of nostalgia, but do I think it's a great film? No.
Well, there you go. But we do get some extras on this one.
Oh, we do.
We get an interview. I can't remember the titles of the special features off the top of my head, but we do get an interview with the director, which was a pretty good interview. He talks about wanting to do a commercial film and, horror, of course, being hot at the time, and talks a little bit about the VHS boom and how easy it was, regardless of quality, to get a film out at the time. And as long as you could finish it. Kind of talks about blending fairy tales and horror, the general concept, working with the producer of Nightmare, and some of the issues that this had. Melissa Leo broke her arm, and Scott Valentine got hit by a truck before production that kind of made this one tough shoot, but they were able to get it done. It was footage shot in 82 through 85, which does kind of show a little bit. And it was a pretty good interview. The in-camera effects, which is probably the strong point of this one, because the story's just kind of he talks about writing some of the music, which apparently he did later for Disney, and kind of had a career with that because they couldn't afford any of the songs he wanted. It was a good interview. Good, solid director interview on this one. They also and I can't complain for not a top title, although surprisingly a lot of people were excited about this one. So, like I said, that may just be my opinion. But yeah, no, it's not just you. People were curious, and I thought maybe I would like it more too, because like I said, I just didn't like it as a kid, and I didn't watch it again for the longest time, but I don't know. My disdain for this one remains. But you also get interviews with Melissa Leo, who kind of surprised they were able to get her. I mean, she's been in a lot of big movies lately with Gerard Butler and The Olympus Has Fallen flicks, and she's done a lot of stuff. But they were able to get her and Scott Valentine. So for this type of film, that's roughly about all I could expect, because I wasn't necessarily expecting Melissa Leo. So I give this one a 4 on extras.
I agree. And I also want to throw out there, it also included the standalone of the Witch's Tale with Scott Valentine. That was the first cut when they were deciding whether or not basically to make that a feature or to go the anthology route, which they ended up going. But I thought it was cool that they included that, obviously from looks pretty sure it's a VHS master. So that kind of gives it a nice retro look. And then that there were still any trailers left. I was really happy with the overall package. And I agree.
They didn't have the deleted scene of him motorboating the witch tits, though.
Unfortunately, this is true. So for that reason alone, I'm giving it a 4 also.
There we go. Yeah, no, extras definitely worked. I could not expect anything more. So there you go. Dead Time Stories. Not an entirely positive week, but that always makes for interesting reviews. So, and hey, maybe there's some you don't have to watch now. So I do have a solo before we get into. I'm saving. I have no idea. I specifically didn't talk to Todd about it, but we're saving Love Witch for the main event, because this is a very interesting movie. But I do have a solo before we get into that, and this one is from Wild Eye Releasing. It is 24 Hours to Die. It's an Irish horror film from writer-director Stephen Patrick Kenny, and this one, it's actually kind of a horror sci-fi flick, and it follows 12 strangers who wake up to find themselves locked in a bunker and told that they have been infected with the virus and have a maximum of 24 hours left to live. They are commanded to carry out a series of violent assaults against each other to compete for the antidote to the virus. Only one of them can win the antidote and survive. Okay, so very, very familiar premise. Like I said, Belko Experiments. I'm seeing that Saturday, I think. It familiar, but it works. Like I really kind of always been drawn to this simple setup of people waking up in a situation, not knowing, in a confined space, not knowing how they got there, and having to work together and often turning on each other. Cube is one of my all-time favorites. That movie shocked the hell out of me when I saw it. Was one of my favorites. Still is one of my favorite sci-fi movies. And, of course, this has similar elements to, of course, Saw, obviously, and House of Nine, and countless horror films with these very similar premises. I like it. I like the formula, so this worked for me. I've always found with these, the less explanation for why you're there, usually the better, and that's a very good example would be the Cube sequels, because the first one was such an amazing movie, but then they kind of try and explain it too much and it loses its magic a bit. So, I mean, this one, it opens in the near future in 2021 where there's been this sort of unknown virus or something or other that's really kind of thrown the world into chaos just recently. And everybody wakes up. They don't know how they got there. They don't really know each other. There are some twists to the film that were interesting. Like I said, it's a good formula because, you know, even some of the weaker films with this kind of premise, you usually have to watch to the end because you're at least intrigued enough to know who might be in on something, who might be hiding secrets. It is a very low-budget movie, and it does show a little bit. There's some off-screen stuff, and I don't know if they fully, because I thought the premise was pretty cool about the virus taking control of some of them and turning them into sort of zombie, although they kind of look a little more like demons, but I don't know that they fully capitalized on the fear there. Some of them turn and just kind of die, or there's a very anticlimactic fight, and they're subdued rather easily. That might be more budget, but like I said, this one, I think it was shot in like a week. The actors are all very good. Some could have been developed a little bit more, but the acting felt more top-notch for a micro-budget production. I liked that it kind of had a little bit of a sci-fi bent to it. It's not a very makeup or gore-heavy film, but the infected, the virus, once they do turn, pretty simple but effective and creepy-looking, whatever you want to call them, infected, I guess. And I liked it. I liked it. I mean, I can't talk too much about the end, but I did like that there were some twists. It doesn't really spell everything out at the end. I mean, why exactly they're doing this, but they did a nice job for very little money. I think if you like this premise, it's no Cube, it's no Saw, but I like the formula, and I don't think I would go right out and buy this, but if you're a fan of these types of movies and don't mind lower budget, I think it's definitely worth a rental. And I give this one a three stars on the indie scale. The acting never, unlike the last one we did, which some people might actually like the last one more, but the acting was terrible. The acting's good in this one. If the acting doesn't work for this sort of premise, then it's going to be a long, hour and a half. But fortunately, the actors were on par in this one. And, so 24 Hours to Die. Check it out if you like this formula. And with that being said, Todd, on to our final movie for the evening, which is Love Witch, which is a film that's been making a lot of noise lately. I think technically it must have had some screenings in 2016 because I saw it for a lot of best of lists. And I'm going to read the synopsis. I'm going to let you go first because I'm curious. We haven't talked about this one at all. But for those unfamiliar, this is from writer, producer, director, costume design, pretty much everything from Anna Biller, and filmed in stunning 35 millimeter with a lavish production and costume design. Anna Biller's The Love Witch tells the story of Elaine, a beautiful young witch who is determined to find a man to love her. In her gothic Victorian apartment, she makes spells and potions in order to woo and seduce the men she meets. However, her spells work too well, leaving her with a string of hapless victims. When she finally meets the man of her dreams, her desperation passion to be loved will drive her to the brink of insanity and murder. With a visual style that plays tribute to the Technicolor thrillers of the 60s, The Love Witch explores female fantasy and the repercussions of pathological narcissism. So, Todd, what did you think of The Love Witch?
Just let me take I'm sorry. My throat was dry, and that creeped up on me.
There you go.
It's a weird one. I get why you saved this one for last. I enjoyed it. I thought from everything I heard, because I know it's been, called a throwback to the Hammer era and stuff of that time period, which I felt it was, and it's beautifully shot, and all the women look gorgeous in it, and it does capture that feel. I thought it was, even though the fact it's set in present day, it didn't really feel like it, if you know what I mean. It kind of feels like just an unknown time, because no cell phones, yet modern cars, and it's all just very in its own little world. I enjoyed it, but there was something about it I couldn't put my finger on that, and it could just be my personal opinion. I think that 2 hours for the runtime could have been cut down to a 95 minutes and still told the same story and moved the pace along a little bit. But what did you think?
This is definitely one that some people are going to love it, some people won't. I really loved it, actually.
You didn't think it could, you didn't think it could be a little shorter, though?
Yes, I agree with you on that. I was going to say the story. They definitely could have cut a good 20 minutes out of this.
Yeah.
So I am with you on that. But I have to say, this is a love letter. 35 millimeter versus, of course, digital. This film is gorgeous. And we see a lot of throwback movies that sometimes partially succeed, but you never truly feel that they take place. And again, the director herself in the special features said it takes place in modern times, but basically I felt like I was watching a movie that was shot in the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
There were moments, and I can say this about very few films, particularly an indie film. This isn't a massive budget or anything, but there were good chunks of this film where I thought I was watching something that was made in that time. The actors, the performances, the look, which, oh my God, this is like aesthetic brilliance. The cinematography, the costume design, the sets. It's one of those films, even if you don't like it particularly, or it's just not your cup of tea, I think on a technical level, you kind of have to bow your tip your hats to them. This is just a beautiful, beautiful film. I don't normally rave about some of these technical details so much, but this is probably, if nothing else, one of the best looking movies I've seen in years. And I will say this: if you're not familiar with the films, this is the films that this is paying tribute to, then this is definitely one that I could see some people just thinking, oh, I just don't get it. But if you are, I think you'll like this a lot. I thought Samantha Robinson, who played Elaine, gave a perfect performance. There's some moments that might feel a bit over the top from some of the cast, but again, it felt very authentic to the time. There's a lot of subtle stuff in this one that I was like, oh wow. Some may feel like I know a lot of people have been saying, oh, throwback to Hammer, which it kind of is, but I don't know if you're just going by that, if that's a good, I mean, it's really a throwback to that time in general.
I agree.
And
I agree, but I think that's the easiest way to describe it tonally than just, I think just saying 60s filmmaking in general.
Yeah.
I mean, or you could say something like Valley of the Dolls or that, but that's, you know, not the right tone, I think. I get why people use the Hammer one. I use the Hammer one, but I also get why it's not entirely accurate.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, some people might be thinking, you know, Dracula, you know, and it's like, well, this isn't really that. But I don't know. I mean, it's interesting because other than a couple shots of modern cars, and at one point, I think it was Elaine, Samantha Robinson's, the star, Elaine, made reference to old Steve McQueen movies. No, actually, I think it was the actor that played Wayne, you know, referring to them as old. Other than that, I was kind of looking at this thinking, might as well have just had it take place in the 60s. But, you know, like you said, its own little world.
And that's why I kind of liked that they didn't, but they did, and they just kind of like, well, made this, and it's obviously had to be a decision. We're not going to use cell phones. We don't care if it's modern. You know, it was an obvious decision, and I like that it feels like it's its own world. It's not the 60s. It's not right now. It's this Love Witch world.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's its own world, but I mean, it really just, I was like, just my eye, I was just transfixed. I mean, it was such a I mean, if you gave her money, I mean, I could see her winning an Academy Award for set design, costume design. I mean, like I said, there was like no flaws. I'm sitting here, I'm like, Jesus, I'm literally watching something from that time period. I mean, that was made. That this is just some movie I never saw that was made then. And some people might think it's a little light on the horror. I could see that being one of the complaints. I mean, it's got a very unique tone. There's obviously a lot of kind of social commentary that's pretty clever. This is one of these movies. It sounds weird coming from me, but because obviously I'm a lifelong dedicated horror fan, but I can see a lot of people that don't like horror movies will love this. Just thinking it's very clever, and although I don't want to say it just those people, but it is just so unique. I mean, you might absolutely love it. Like I said, which I did for the most part. I just recognize that this one isn't going to please everybody. But I mean, the burlesque routines, I mean, even the actors, the looks, the way they spoke, there were some reviews criticizing some of the acting, and I'm like, no, not at all. I mean, these guys, I felt like I was watching an old sitcom. I mean, it really, and, you know, for an indie film, I don't know what the budget was on this. I'd be really curious, but I know the director took more than a few years working on the sets, the props, the costumes. I mean, it's definitely a labor of love, and it shows. And
all shot in LA also. I'll throw that out here. I'll throw that out there too.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, it's a very clever social commentary, and some of the rituals and everything, because were pretty accurate. I'm not Wiccan, but I have studied that a little bit, and you know, there's a lot of attention to detail in this film, and and cool burlesque routines too. I do want to point out another thing that this is not. There is nudity. The women are gorgeous. It's not a perv fest, but there was like just the right amount of that too, because you didn't have wall-to-wall nudity in most of the films of that time either. So it really balanced the eroticism.
A lot of times you were hoping for it in a lot of them, and I was kind of hoping for our lead. And I still think that was accidental because you only see a boob really once, and that's because all the other times it's perfectly covering with her hair. There is one time.
Yeah, you get an ass shot. You get some boob.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I was talking about particularly with our lead.
Yes, you do get the hair covering the boobs shot, but it's weird. I was okay with that too. It really. I
was too.
Like
it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, and she's gorgeous.
And the fact
another actress. I'd be curious to see if she does more in the genre, because I thought she was very, very good.
She was great.
So I guess in short, I'll say about this movie, if you don't kind of get what they're doing, you might hate it. If you do kind of get it, you may really love this one. But if nothing else, you will absolutely love just how beautiful and well made it is. It really is. It's hard to classify. Hammer, Euro sexploitation to a certain degree, and just unique. And absolutely, if nothing else, even if you don't like it, this is unique. You haven't seen this 100 times, and I can't think of anything, even with money, that has been this successful at making you really feel that you're. Again, it's not supposed to be, I guess, the 60s or 70s, but for all intent and purpose, you feel like you're in the 60s or 70s. So I love this one. You may or may not. It is expensive right now. It jumped up to like $40 on Blu-ray, and I have to confess, this was an accidental purchase for me. I had locked it in as a pre-order and intended to cancel it, and then I saw it was shipping, and I'm like, oh, fuck. But I'm glad I got it. It's expensive right now on Amazon, but hopefully it'll go down. Yeah. It should.
The company that put it out is not one of the cheaper ones, so I get being lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely. It's definitely unique. I loved it. I give this one a 4.5. But look into it a little bit and see if this is going to be something for you, because it may or may not. What say you, Todd?
I'm not too far off. I give it a 4. I definitely recommend it. And honestly, the runtime thing was my only major complaint with it. But I think for general viewers, I think that shorter running time would have helped out for a lot more people. I've heard some buzz on this, and I think, some people are going to want it to move along a little quicker. But I definitely enjoy it and recommend it to those who will get it.
Absolutely, yeah. No, just make sure you get it. And I don't know, can you get this on any kind of VOD or not? Not sure if this company, if you even can.
I'm looking.
It's.
Hold on. All right. Why is my internet crawling? Damn it! All the porn I'm downloading at the same time. I hate when that happens. All right. Well, I got that one to go. Okay. I'm checking if Netflix has it streaming. It does not, but they do have the disc available if you have Netflix disc still. You can get the actual disc. There we go. And I'm checking Amazon. I'm sure it will not be a free streaming one, but let's see if it's even available for rental. And I don't even see that.
Okay.
Double checking.
I had a feeling. I was kind of like, this is one I think they're going to want you to just buy. But if you have a way to rent it, even though with the high rating, because like I said, this is one, it's going to range from it's an absolute classic to it's absolute crap, and it's really just going to depend on...
okay. Here we go. It is available on Amazon Video to rent in HD for $4.99.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would recommend renting it first, especially being that it's expensive at the moment, so you may be safer renting it. So yes, I'm sorry, I'm responding to someone who's on this.
It's all right. I'm checking. I'm checking if it's on Redbox too. Since I am thinking of other places people might be able to rent it. I kind of have a feeling it won't be, but I'm still checking for our listeners. No. All I get is something called Love and Mercy with John Cusack. So, unfortunately, no.
All right. Well, there you go. So, anyways, that's Love Witch. And so we have a little bit of time left, and I was talking to you about this before the show, and it drove me crazy. But what are you thinking right now, being that we essentially have maybe one match to go or so, but we've essentially got the whole WrestleMania card? Because I was in Best Buy the other day, and Goldberg has a new action movie out with a pretty cool cast. Fred the Hammer Williamson's in it, William Forsythe, I think Kane Hodder's in it too. And it was like $12, and I had it in my hand. I had flashbacks. I'm like, this motherfucker is main eventing WrestleMania when he shouldn't. And I didn't buy it. I know that's totally because I've met Goldberg. He's a nice guy. But I don't know. What do you think right now? Because I'm just kind of the logic again. Even last WrestleMania, it's like I enjoyed the show, but it really didn't mean anything at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the same thing with this one. I mean, at the end of the day, titles are going to get moved off these guys. Brock might keep it a little bit. But it's all going to be for the people who come once a year, not for the people who watch and stick around all year, not for the wrestlers who bust their ass all year, just to have Goldberg come in and, somewhere.
Well, and Owens and Jericho were hot, though. I mean, they were hot going into it. Jericho's like on the run of his, if not the run of his career, certainly the biggest run he's had in a decade. I mean, I just logically, and Lesnar Goldberg didn't need a fucking title. I mean, that's what I keep coming back to. I'm like, that really shouldn't impact their feud at all. Although I mean, if we get Owens, Lesnar, do you think Balor somehow is going to figure into this at all? Because we know at this point we're going to be lucky to get a 5-minute match. I don't think Goldberg can do it. I mean, do you see how fucking blown up he was just hitting a spear and a fucking jackhammer on Kevin Owens?
I didn't know, but I did see the Kayfabe News article. It's going to be a first sweat match.
Yeah. He needs to cool it in the locker room a little bit and just, I don't know. I mean, unless they're planning something big, I know some people have suggested maybe somehow Balor's going to come out and, like, get his rematch, like, after, presumably, Lesnar destroys Goldberg, but who knows?
The only way that works is if somehow Balor, I think Paul Heyman has to be involved and turn on Brock and bring someone. Balor could be the guy. Now, don't everyone start thinking CM Punk at once, because that ain't happening.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I would mark the fuck out if it did, but I don't. I mean, there's some logic there with Lesnar getting embarrassed and but I don't know. I mean, it could end up being a good card. Ironically, what I'm looking forward to probably the most on this one, and I know you've been a little more sour on 205 Live, but I'm probably more excited to see Austin Aries get his WrestleMania moment with Neville.
Yeah, I agree with that. I am an Austin Aries fan, so even though I'm not a huge 205 Live one, I'm still glad to see Austin Aries get it. Yeah, I'm like, for me, it's that, and it's Owens Jericho, and I don't know the rest. I mean, I'm sure it'll deliver on some level, but I don't know. But yeah, no. I know you're hoping we get another Let's Run Us into Overtime pointless Rock segment. I'm hoping not. I don't. Nothing against The Rock, but I just don't care. I really don't need some long Rock segment, but I don't know. I don't know if it's absolutely confirmed that he's going to be there or not. Maybe they can get Batista to take that spot. You mentioned Batista. I'll say this. Talk all the shit you want about Batista. I would be much happier right now if Batista and Lesnar were main eventing. I agree. Which was rumored at one point. I mean, hey, it ain't going to be a great match, but it would have been decent enough. At least it would have been a fucking match rather than these squashes, which I don't know. I hope they boo the shit out of that match. I don't know that they will. I can almost guarantee Goldberg will get his ass. And this may finally be the time we get the Ryback chant. If it's ever going to happen, God, we do. If it is ever going to happen, it's going to be at this show. I hope that. Yes. The WrestleMania crowd. Yeah. Well, and, again, we keep looking at all these recent WrestleManias getting headlined by part-timers. I mean, shit, even Batista. I mean, even, Daniel Bryan. I mean, Batista was in that one. I mean, it just, at some point, because I don't believe that casual fans totally exist anymore. I don't. I mean, I know some people will tune into WrestleMania that don't watch religiously, but even most of them that I know right now, like my older brother, didn't watch. I mean, he never watched WCW. He only vaguely knows who Goldberg is, and even getting his opinion, he's like, I don't quite get the appeal of this guy that's not really having an actual match. He doesn't get it at all, and. Because I don't know. I kept saying, I'm like, well, wait, maybe they know he's an injury risk and he'll at least have a normal, again, not great, but a normal 5 to 10 minute match with Lesnar. But I don't think we're going to get anything better than what we saw from them last time. We may not even get that. No. So I don't know. And just the build for a squash match, it's just not that interesting. I hate the way they've used Lesnar lately. I mean, this past year kind of has seemed pointless for me with him. I can't argue with that. I mean, this whole Brock stuff is just Brock and Goldberg. Yeah. He just needs to go back away. Yeah. I still find it hysterical that they dyed his beard in the ads.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've officially, because it's funny, I know you always hated him, but now I don't care. And I can't quite see what else there is for him to do once he loses to Lesnar. I mean, maybe he's going to headline the Hall of Fame next year, but, I mean, do you see them using him after WrestleMania? I mean, because what the hell do you do with them?
Santa Slay, too.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd be fine with that. Let him, headline some movies, but I don't think any cardio that this guy is doing, I just don't think it's going to matter at this point. He wasn't much of a wrestler way back when, and that much time off, 50 years old. I just don't think he can do it anymore. Even his kid, it seemed kind of underwhelmed when he won the title, which a lot of people were kind of making fun of that too. But I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. This card this year is just not. It just lacks sizzle for me. And everybody's in multi-matches, and I think that's kind of lazy for WrestleMania. I hope they leave Nia out of that triple threat, though, because I think she's going to slow them down.
Yeah. Well, see, I know a lot of people give her heat, but I actually like her because she's like, she is the Awesome Kong role. I mean, there is no other. She's not the greatest worker, no, but she's just someone who goes in there and kicks ass, which is different for the women's division built on work rate right now, but you still need those kind of wrestlers.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't think she's quite ready for that position, but, I mean, I know she's going to end up in the match, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious the SmackDown women's thing, if who's going to end up in that. I was kind of thinking maybe that's where we'll get a call-up, possibly, although I think Asuka is going to have to mix it up with the Raw women's division, but I don't know. And don't get me started on AJ, because I know he'll have a great performance against Shane. I'm sure it's going to be a street fight, but what does it do for AJ to beat Shane? And, of course, it would look really bad if Shane beat AJ. It just doesn't matter. I mean, you could put AJ with – I mean, hell, Ziggler's getting shafted again. I just – he's not going to get a singles match, and I'm just like, maybe they could have built towards those two. I don't know. You could put AJ with anybody. It's going to be a great match, but I don't know. I mean, are you excited for Reigns, Taker? Or I think Taker's going to get his second loss, I have a feeling.
Oh, God, I hope that's where Braun Strowman goes. But real quick, we're in our last 90 seconds, so final thoughts. I don't think we need to go in the archive tonight, unless you feel the need.
Nah, I don't think we need to tonight. We'll be back next week. I know we've got a lot of Vinegar Syndrome coming at some point. Maybe we'll do a Wishmaster retrospective at some point. I don't know, but lots of different reviews coming up.
There's quite a bit of stuff. We'll be able to fill up some time. Just because I haven't done it the whole show. I had to get one in.
There you go. Yeah, we didn't do it tonight, but we didn't really have anything sexploitation. Well, sort of. I guess Love Witch. We can count that. Sort of.
Yeah. This is true.
Female-friendly sexploitation.
Yes. Yeah, we'll have some good stuff coming up. Well, hopefully we'll finalize next week's show pretty soon, and we got our 7 weeks to our 100th episode, and we'll figure out what we're doing with that. And I can't think of anything else for the night, so I'm going to say we got like 4 seconds. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys. See you next time.
It's here.
Hello?
Have you checked the children?
They're all hot dogs.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Gingy.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. Gentlemen, I am pain.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face. The blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
You think that when you die, you go to heaven. You come to us.